Hey, welcome back to the Big Rand Show. As always, thank you for joining me. If you could, hit that subscribe button down below and let's get right to it. There seems to be a little dissension among the ranks of the Republican Party as of late. Back in April, former Massachusetts Governor Bill Weld announced he would be running a primary campaign against Donald Trump, and now a second Republican, former Illinois Congressman Joe Walsh, has decided that he, as well, will be running a primary campaign against Donald Trump. Now, you might be wondering, Jake, is this possible? Is it unprecedented? No, primaries are not unprecedented against sitting presidents. Now, the thing is, in modern history, they haven't been successful, at least at winning the nomination for somebody else within the party other than the incumbent president. What it has done is weaken them to the point that they have lost in the general election. You had Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, and George H.W. Bush were all three primaried back in their respective terms, and they all three lost. So they won their primaries, but they lost the general election because it weakened them, and it made them less, didn't look as strong. Therefore, the voting populace did not vote for them. And of course, Jimmy Carter gave that speech he gave right before the election that was kind of doom and gloom, and people didn't want to listen to it, didn't want to believe the facts, and he lost because of that as well. I think that was probably had more to do with it than even the primary. But of course, the Iran hostage situation was a problem as well. But the question is, should Donald Trump be primaried? I believe he should be. I believe you have to fight for the soul of the Republican Party. I was at one point a Republican in my lifetime, back a long, long time ago, before I realized what the Republican Party was turning into. It was no longer the party of compassionate conservatism. It was the party of corporate greed, the party of vilify the poor, the party of punching down. That is why I left the Republican Party and became a Democrat. In the very first election I ever voted in, I voted for George W. Bush for governor of the state of Texas. I thought he was a great governor at the time. Turns out that he only stayed a short while, after I voted for him, he only stayed a short while and then decided to run for president after he said he wouldn't. But I digress. One thing is, Donald Trump has done some things out there that really upset me, that really pissed me off, and I don't have any problem in the world with him being primaried. But to my liberal friends out there, don't think by any stretch of the imagination that these primary attempts are going to have any effect on Donald Trump. Joe Walsh, yeah, some people know Joe Walsh. A lot of Americans don't. Most people, when I remember when Bill Weld made his announcement, most people were like, Bill who? If you want an actual primary that's going to actually be strong enough to not only possibly win the primary, but potentially actually hurt him in the general election, you're going to have to put somebody stronger out there. You're going to need a different kind of Republican. You're going to need somebody more like a Mark Cuban, who said if he ran, he would probably run as a Republican. That's what you would need. You would need somebody with deep pockets and name recognition. And that's not what you got with these two people. They're not really known that well outside of, their states. It's a problem that Beto O'Rourke is having right now as well. But yes, I do believe Donald Trump needs to be primaried. I believe Donald Trump needs to lose the general election in 2020. I think it's best for America. I think it's best for business. Take a look at what he's done. He is killing our economy with this stupid trade war with China. Tariffs are just, as Pete Buttigieg put it the other day, they're a fool's errand. They don't do anything positive for the country. You have farmers who are having to bail out to the tune of $15 to $20 billion a year now, over the last 2 years of his little experiment. He blames poor people. He blames gay people. He blames transgender people for all the problems. He blames Mexicans and Hispanics from all parts of South America and Central America for our problems. It doesn't make any sense to me. He's tried 3 times to cut Medicaid for the poor and the disabled. He has a HUD department trying to enforce work requirements on the disabled who can't work. Luckily, they changed their tune on that. He has done nothing to help this country. I have a friend of mine who has almost lost her ACA health care multiple times. And she's worse off in some ways than I am. Sure, I can't walk, but she has a major heart condition. And she has to have surgeries frequently. If she was to lose her ACA, she would die. Her ACA healthcare is all she has. And before you get to thinking, oh, well, maybe she should get a job, well, she works. But health insurance isn't cheap. She needs the help. So do the 20 other million Americans who are on the ACA, paying their premiums. But the way he vilifies people, he attacks people, I can't do it. I can't support it. I never will. I hope other Republicans will join the fight against Donald Trump and fight for the soul of the Republican Party. Because I don't believe the Republican Party should be the party of Trump. It should not be a party of hate. It should not be a party of divisiveness. But unfortunately, that is what it is under Donald Trump. It's truly the party of punching down. Convince the middle class that it's the poor's fault. Convince the poor that it's the immigrants' fault. And then have the immigrants punching down at each other. I don't support it. I don't see how anybody could. Now, I have no problems with conservative people. I talk to a lot of them. Some of them are my friends. I've been recently told that I've noticed that I have a conservative person who occasionally watches the channel. So I have no problem with conservatives. I like talking to conservatives. I like hashing out ideas and solutions. What I don't like is the idea that some people in the Republican Party are doing. Considering people to, telling their constituents to punch down. Just because your life is shitty doesn't mean you should punch down on the people who are doing worse than you. Just a thought. Anyhow, just a little bit of update for the channel. I am going to continue doing some videos here. I'm not sure yet 100% on the return of the weekly rundown. I'll probably bring it back in about a month or so under a season 2. And hopefully I'll be able to get some new graphics done for that and some new, video editing to go into it. If not, I'll at least try to figure that out. As well, check out some of my other channels. I have a channel called Gimp with a Camera, which I'm trying to get people to watch just so I can find out what they would like me to change the name to. Because it appears the name is suppressing some of the videos that I put out over there. I've done all sorts of things on that channel over the years. I've done food reviews. I did a tech review for a phone or two. And I've done some historic stuff on something I'm calling Oldest Town Vlogs, where I discuss the history of the city of Nacogdoches and the area around it. Next up will be a discussion of the Fredonia Rebellion and how you can still see remnants of it today, at least via the name of Fredonia. Anyhow, it's been the Grant Show. I've been your host, Jacob Keck. I'll see you down the road.